industries and systems that we are accustomed to, and this is a big shift with the collective right now. And so I guess for me, it's always just about figuring out who the key players are right now, because I'm a victim of their warfare every single day. Now these systems, all right, that they are able to now attach to human DNA, biology, they're extremely advanced, okay? And a lot of people are victims of these systems, and instead of them coming forward, a lot of times they end up giving in and working for whatever the group is. They end up, doing what they're told. They end up going in the opposite direction. So a lot of people don't come forward because they're afraid, okay? They're afraid to come forward. So we're definitely in a very interesting time. But going back to Africa, I was remembering today that, Elon Musk is from South Africa. And so I kind of just wanted to see where exactly he was from. So it's really interesting. So when I went online today, I saw that he was from Pretoria, okay, South Africa. And then I remembered, okay, I know that Oprah also had a girls' school also somewhere in South Africa. So I looked up where her school was, and that's in Meyerton, okay? So they're actually not that far away from each other, her school and where Elon Musk actually is from. So I thought that was really interesting. Now, Africa has become like a hotbed, all right, for minerals. It always has been, but because we've moved more into battery powered vehicles and such, lithium is a huge resource right now, and there is a big lithium rush, so to speak, going on in Africa right now. And I wanted to find out where that was, and that's in Zimbabwe. Okay, so I thought that was really interesting. Just all of these ties to Africa, and I know it has come up before, okay? I know there are other locations in Africa and South Africa that have come up in the news, in the media, and I also was remembering the story about Don Jr. and then the trophy hunting, and that's also connected to Zimbabwe. There's also, I believe there was a story just recently about gold, okay, with Putin, and it just is an interesting, spotlight, okay, on Africa right now, and, what really is going on there, and the networks involved. So we know that Maui experienced a fire, okay, and there was already plans in the works for a smart city. Well, one of the number one fuels, or how it would be powered, a smart city, is through lithium, okay? So it would be through a battery technology. So, it's interesting because then it ties right back to Africa, because Oprah also has an estate in Maui, okay? So I was trying to kind of connect the dots today to the power players, the key players, and how these networks are operating. I'm always trying to kind of figure it out, because for us, I think, as a group, as a collective, as a world, it's important for the younger generations to start paying attention, okay? Paying attention to who people are, what their motivations are, what they're investing in. I just noticed that Elon made an announcement about having basically moving your money in a new way, so that you no longer have a bank account anymore, okay? So that was something he had just announced, is no longer having a bank account. So I think it's just really important in terms of how we look at even moving money right now, because the main goal of these people who are in high places is how to move money quickly, okay? How to move it quickly without going through the regulations, all right? And the problem with that is then we can lose track very quickly in terms of law, okay? Law, it's legal and not legal. If we lose sight of how we move money, right, and we're moving large sums of money across country lines, okay, that's when we can start letting in a lot of corruption, right, into our country. That's how we get infiltrated. We get infiltrated through corporations. Every contract it could be potentially an infiltration, right? Any contract, any freaking business contract could potentially be a form of infiltration by a foreign dignitary. I mean, if we really want to break it freaking down, okay? Money is money and it's moving in. And we saw this, okay? We saw this with the 2016 election, and it was cited in the Mueller report with Trump's ties to, Trump Moscow, and, all of this stuff with his monies, and just how quickly this can infiltrate a country, okay? When you are put into a power place. And so right now, I think we're just being guided to really wake up to the network, okay? That's what it feels like right now. I feel like we're being guided to wake up to the network and the people who are involved, the key people that are involved, okay, in these networks, and what they are promoting and pushing out. And right now, human sovereignty and free will is on the line, okay? Human sovereignty and free will is on the line because of how advanced these technologies are. Now, what's interesting about Elon is that if you go into his Wikipedia and you start looking through all of his, accomplishments and what he stood firm on, it's interesting because he voted for Hillary Clinton, okay? He was working on a lot of solar technologies, okay? It felt like it looks like he's moving in what feels like a positive direction, and then it suddenly shifts around 2017. So it's an interesting, I don't know, it just seems like an interesting timeline shift. Now, I'm not sure exactly like what happened, or if he maybe a lot of that was just an image, okay? I don't know if that was like an image, but it appears that he is moving in one direction. It says that he voted for Joe Biden, but it's like now it's like there's a shift in there at a different point where he is, moving towards these other things that don't feel like they're really aligned, to humanity. Now, when I have seen interviews with Elon talking about his time machines, okay, and the stargates and these sacred portals and CERN, okay, and reading those articles, I immediately get red flag. The stuff he has done with CERN, there is no doubt in my mind that stuff is not okay. Like, I know that is red flag. And so everything that he has been working on, it feels like maybe after a certain point, does not feel like it is aligned to humanity and the light. It's interesting though, but he comes on and does a warning to humanity around, I feel like he did several of those, okay? And then it's like now it feels like he's on the opposite coin. So it's like, it's a very interesting thing. I remember also specifically there were reports that he had, flown a couple of Russian billionaires, okay, up to space, all right? And I feel like that was right around the time of the Ukraine war, okay? It might have been right before. And that to me was always like that to me was always like a question mark, okay? So I think that there were just some certain things, like, I also see people in power differently now, okay? Because as I'm awakening to who people are, the people at the top, the people that bring in the most money or are making the most change, they become the targets, okay? And it does become almost like a meat market in terms of how people want to penetrate or to, break through and infiltrate those people, those power players. So I think right now we're going to be going through like a really interesting shift in terms of who the true key players are of the world, and, what they're aligned to right now and what they stand for. What are their values? I feel like everything is under a microscope right now in terms of who they are, and really understanding what they're affiliated to and what they're tied to. I also feel like, I don't know, like, I think it's just interesting in terms of I'm kind of interested in the infiltration part right now. Like that's where I'm kind of drawn to the infiltration, because I think it's interesting where somebody comes up and they're doing something really good, and then all of a sudden it's like they get knocked on their ass, and then it's like there's a whole other side of them that comes out, and it's like almost like a personality shift or a personality change, and it's like they're become a different person. And we've seen this with a lot of women, okay? I know that we've seen this with a lot of different women, okay? A lot of people have gone through these smear campaigns, but men have gone through it too, okay? I'm not gonna say it. Like every celebrity has gone through their own version of a smear campaign, okay? But it is just really interesting right now to me, because I want to just focus real quick on the royal family, all right? So if we go to, let's just go to, I'm like blanking right now, Prince Harry, okay, and the Duchess. Well, they're not really that anymore. So Meghan Markle, okay, but she came in as a person who was very Princess Diana. You know, it was like, okay, yeah, like she's so beautiful, like she's one of the people. I get corrected. Getting corrected on my device right now. Princess Diana. Princess Diane. So she was one of the people, right? She was one that would go out and she did service work. Okay, she was known for this warmth. Okay, this that was who she was, you know, with her boys. All right, she was this warm, loving mother. Okay, taking care of them and doing service work. I mean, she was known for going out and helping people, and that was that was who she was. So Meghan came in with a very similar persona, okay, where she was right in front of the media doing the same thing, very warm, very tender, you know, it was the same kind of energies that were going on with her, okay, and it looked like it was pretty refreshing, you know, for the royal family. It was something, it was a shift, it was a change, okay, it was a change not only in terms of tradition, okay, but in terms of like her nationality. That was even her race was a change, okay, and where she was from America, okay. So when you look at that, it was looking like we were kind of, you know, breaking through an old paradigm in some way, and it felt like it was, you know, pretty positive in some way. But then what happened after that was like a major smear campaign came through, and then it started to paint her as this other person, right? So it became this whole other thing going on, and it blew up. And ever since that point, it has just been one storm, okay? It's like one stormy train that has just, it is just, you know, it has never died down. It has never calmed down. And when you're put in the spotlight like that, where you're put in the middle of chaos and a storm like that, it's very hard to come back from that. It's very hard, because to repair the damage to your reputation is very difficult from just like one of those stories, okay? So you start putting in, you know, 5, 10, 15 stories, it keeps coming on, you know, and then they get a new project, and then that doesn't work out right, and they get slammed for that, and all the media is on them for that. It's really hard to come back from a reputation. Now he made a choice to leave the royal family because he felt like, you know, probably, you know, the chances of him becoming king were very slim to none, right? Was that by design? Because now King Charles is very ill, right? He suddenly just got ill, and you can't not think about what's going on there. Now suddenly Princess Kate is in the hospital, right? Oh, that's really interesting. What's going on with Prince William and Kate? Why is she suddenly getting sick? What is going on? You know, you can't help but think, is there something more to the story? So something in me is taking us to the infiltration, okay? It's taking me to the infiltration of these powerhouses and what exactly is going on. And we have to look at things, it feels like right now, from a bird's eye lens, instead of getting caught up in the gossipy parts of it, okay? Instead of us going, oh my God, Meghan, she's crazy, and, you know, getting into that whole like rigmarole of like falling into the gossip hound media, and then kind of like pulling back and going, is something else happening here? Because this is where we are being guided to, is the bigger picture now. It's like we got to take the lens out and zoom out and be like, what's really going on here? And that's when I think, you know, we start to research and understand maybe a little bit more about the happenings, because you can really look at it anyway. You could say, okay, there are reports coming through that she is linked to the Epstein train, okay, that she was one of, you know, she is part of that same kind of backing or group, okay? There's one, I guess there's speculation about that, okay? So that's an interesting angle to think about, okay? Because you think, oh, well then, was she used potentially to infiltrate the royal family? You can look at it like that. You know, she could have been used as an infiltration. Now you can look at it as on the reverse end. You know what I mean? It's like, how were they? I think this is the stuff that we really have to get to, because if we can't get to the truth of who's running the show, who the puppet masters are, who is pulling the strings behind the veil, because a lot of the times it's not the people we're seeing, okay? It's not Harry and Meghan. It's going to be the people behind them, okay? They might not even be aware of who's doing it. And that's when it takes me back to the technology, okay? To MK Ultra, to Monarch Mind Control, to to V2K, voice to skull technologies, all right? Just the advancements of these technologies. When we start to look at these technologies, it takes us to radio towers, okay? It takes us to radio waves, radio stations. It takes us to satellite systems. It takes us to, space, okay? It takes us up pretty high, all right? These are very advanced technologies. And we have to understand that if we don't get a hold on the infiltration on a molecular level, on a cellular level, on a biological level of humanity right now, in terms of how easily our minds can be infiltrated right now, that it also can be how we show up in the spotlight, or how these groups are going to get infiltrated, how these powerhouses are going to get infiltrated. So this could be a very advanced level of warfare, advanced level of psychological warfare. So now King Charles is not doing well. So then what? Prince William, he's potentially going to be the king, right? So then what happens? What just happened with Harry? He just left the royal family. Do you understand? Do you understand the level of that infiltration? Do you understand how dangerous it is? And now he went back to them, okay, to try to come back in and help with his brother, which is totally fucking normal. And there's a group deciding for him. He's the royal member, original royal blood member of the family, deciding for him that he can't come back in. Isn't that insane? Like, that's fucking insane to me. And so you have to think, in these kinds of situations, it's like, who's really running the show? Okay? That's what I would want to know. Why are they making the decisions? You know what I mean? And who are they? And what are they connected to? And who are their backers? It's kind of an interesting thing, because it's like you have to start looking at things completely different, from a completely different lens. Because when I look at that, I look at the royal family was fucking infiltrated. Like, that's how I'm looking at it like that. That's how I'm going to look at it. That's how the Truth Warrior is looking at it right now, okay? And I'm looking at it like that for a lot of people right now. I've looked at it like that with Oprah. I've looked at that, and now I'm looking at it with Elon. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the infiltration. I want to know what happened. Who's really running the show? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know right now. And, what we see showing up in the 3D, when we see these people, okay, and what they're connected to and what they have become, we have to think about what made them become that way. Why did they become that way? What actually is the turning point for these people where they move into a completely new direction, and how that happens. And I think that we're going to be looking at it in every form of system right now, okay? We're going to be looking at it everywhere. And we really have to stop looking at things surface level. We can't go by hearsay anymore. We can't go by gossip media anymore. We gotta rise above the National Enquirer, Fox News crap, okay? We have to go to a bigger freaking lens, okay? We have to start really understanding what is going on. You know what I mean? We cannot be buying into the circus train of just propaganda, okay? And we can't be buying into it even with people who are just stirring the pot with everything and talking about all these different people, because it's one perspective. You have to go to a higher perspective. Now you got to go to the next level. Yes, that might be true. It might be how they're showing up, okay? They might be showing up like they have multiple personalities. They might be showing up like something is not right. But there is somebody, I'm telling you, there are people behind the scenes that are running the freaking show, okay? And that's where we got to go next. That's what we have to be looking at next. We have to understand how these people are being infiltrated right now. And it really is about us starting to really connect the dots, okay? So I'm going to leave you guys there.